Hi, Pastor Nathan Deck with your hashtag Better Together devotion for today. Sometimes in the biblical text, you read a passage and it kind of becomes a meta narrative. One of the passages I read one time was that the sins of the fathers are passed down onto the children. And in the story of the Bible, and especially in terms of the idea of favoritism and being chosen above the rest, that really truly does play out. Because if you read the story, there's this meta narrative where the favoritism of perhaps Adam and Eve, the favoritism of Abraham and Sarah, the favoritism of the Joseph's parents over his brothers, all of this leads to this idea among the tribes of Israel that they are chosen, and one tribe in particular really thinks that they're chosen, and that is the southern nation, the nation of Judah. Within the era of the prophets, they see themselves as being more righteous. They outlast those northern tribes whenever other nations are coming and attacking. They say, we have the temple, we have the proper way of worshiping. Look at us, we're doing it right. You savages up there, I can't believe you're doing it that way. You hear the language that's within the biblical text. And even after the exile, after they've been sent away and come back, Ezra and Nehemiah have this, again, the story of make sure you don't intermarry with folks from the north or other tribes or other nations. Make sure you stay Jewish. And even that name comes from the idea of being Jewish, comes from the name Judah, which is not all of the Hebrew tribes or all the Hebrew nations, but one. This favoritism idea led to the context that Jesus found himself in, where it was Jews and Gentiles. It was God's chosen people and everybody else. And what was forgotten in all of this understanding, and what often gets forgotten today, even today when we talk about the nation of Israel, is that they're not a chosen nation that God is somehow going to have favoritism on them, but instead they were chosen to bless others. They were chosen to be the place from which salvation would come to the world. They were chosen to be a blessing to bless all nations. When we think about favoritism, I think a challenging aspect for us, especially in our own meta narrative as Americans, as people who call ourselves the city on the hill, the greatest nation on earth, the democracy that's worked, the great grand experiment, all those kind of understandings of who we are as a people, let us remember that God blesses nations to bless others. God blesses families to bless other families. God blesses churches to bless other churches. God blesses communities to take care of each other and to bless other communities. This is the true message of Christ and the gospel and God's love that challenges us not to always look inward, but instead to see ourselves as looking outward and being a blessing to others, being better together, all through Christ today.